I think that's a really good point. The way you're kind of breaking some of that out. I think everybody's thinking about with HEI coming in. What can I be doing internally to be able to optimize? In our minds, we're always numbers people. Optimize the rates, but how do we best serve this population and make sure that we're giving everybody the best opportunity that we can. Um, some of the stuff, Nate, I've heard you talk about before is really interesting from my perspective when you think about root cause. So, like when we're talking to plans about how do you drive improvement here, I think a lot of us kind of lean to, well, it's just let's focus on this SRF population. But I've heard you talk about it at kind of a different level. You're going down into layers to actually understand truly what's driving this and how do you make change. So I don't
Mhm.
know if I explained that well, but why don't you jump in and kind of take that to another level?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Thanks.
This is what I say to folks all the time. Like this SRF thing, right, that CMS has spun up, right? This is just their euphemism for like this is a benefit flag that we know we can get to that is related to all of the actual things that cause healthcare disparities, right? Dual eligibility is an outcome in and of itself in my mind, right? It is a set of benefits. It's a program for a group of people who need fundamentally different types of care, and that group of people happens to be overrepresented by groups, as Brendan said, that have been historically either not considered or actively mistreated by the healthcare system, right? So in order to fix a disparity that you find in dual eligibles or low income subsidy, it's not enough to just know that it's there. You kind of have to know why. And the reason that disparity is there is probably going to be different depending on your member mix on a whole host of other variables, such as race and ethnicity, primary language, urban versus rural, and sort of the access challenges that that poses. All these other different variables are the actual things that you need to aim your initiatives at in order to move the needle in the SRF group that you're worried about. And so, one of the things that we see in organizations can sometimes be sort of this conflict between now Stars cares about dual eligible LIS and disabled members, but there's these health equity folks at the plan who have been worried about this for quite some time. And this thing over here, just because it's new and shiny for Stars, should not be viewed as a separate thing from all the health equity stuff that's already been going on and focused on the more traditional variables that we think about, such as race, ethnicity, primary language, all the things that Brendan and I have just talked about. These are in the same ecosystem and they should be playing together in your strategy and in your brains, right? When you think about how are you going to make this program unified, these are not mutually exclusive things. You should be able to have a conversation and sit down at the table with your health equity folks and say, how are all these things interrelated? Because then that brings up the performance and the outcomes for the whole organization.